Well, I stream for a while. I actually got my first payout last year from Magic the Gathering.
So you streamed on Twitch?
I was a partnered streamer with Magic the Gathering. I basically quit when they ended their partner program. I got upset.
Episode 23, Lacey Desper?
That's correct.
I got it right? All right, cool. All right, well, Lacey hit us up. Obviously, Find Your Place. I'm Scott Bunn. Hey, subscribe to the channel. I got Lacey here. You hit us up, interested in coming on and talking about what you've got going on. And I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. I know it's some sort of tax service, benefit type thing. So just tell us who you are and kind of what you're trying to get out into the world.
So I am the program coordinator, which is run through New River Community Action for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And it's a pretty unique program. I didn't know anything about it. I got hired in September, and I just kind of got thrown into this whole world. I mean, I've always done my own taxes, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. And this program is fantastic because it's one of the few nonprofit programs out there that actually saves people more money than it spends. And it works completely through IRS, and they give you the materials that you need. We certify volunteers, and the volunteers come work at our tax clinics, and anybody who makes less than this specific threshold, and this year it's $57,000 a year, it's free taxes. There's nothing involved. There's a few things we don't do. We don't do like international taxes, military taxes. You come in with receipts to do itemized taxes with a box full of receipts. I'm sorry. You need to go somewhere else. But aside from that, it's been in the community for a long time. I was going through files when I moved office and I found newspaper clippings. For the program has been in this area. I found one all the way back from 2007 and 2006. The program was called TAP back then, the Taxpayer Assistance Program. And it's just shocking to me that it's not more well known in the area considering how long it's been in service in the area.
It is. That is kind of strange. You got, Jackson Hewitt and all these other people trying to collect fees for that same service, right? I mean, is that what you're saying? Is there's a service out there that's like all the H&R Blocks and all the Jackson Hewitts and all these people that are collecting fees and charging you, and you're doing it for free?
And that's the whole point of the program is people who receive the Earned Income Tax Credit. That credit is supposed to give money to people who are low income and need that extra money through the year because they're considered lower income than they should be taxed. And the IRS felt that it was wrong that these people that are getting extra credits because they need more money would be charged in order to be able to get those credits. So that's what the program is centered around, is that people who qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit get to use this program so that they're not paying out of pocket when they need the money.
Every little bit helps, right?
And if you think about it, if we do they did taxes for about 550 people last year. If you look at the average cost to get your taxes done, around $100 to $150, that's about $75,000 just to the area that people aren't having to pay out.
They could have cut on to more money that they could have consumed other products.
And that's not even half. I mean, that's way more than half the budget for the entire program. So even at 500 returns, we're more than doubling the budget for the whole program.
And how did you get involved? Like, what is your passion behind this? What drove you to even look at this? Like, for you to discover this, like, what did you have to do to even discover this, to be involved with this company or whatever you're doing?
Well, I'd previously worked for the Low Income Energy Assistance Program in Kansas, and I've also worked with CASA out in Kansas, and we moved out here at the worst time. We February of 2020.
So the inception of COVID.
Yeah, a month before COVID hit, and I was just like, well, I'm not getting a job, and I just didn't look. And then last summer, I was like, well, I think it's about time. My daughter just hit 12 years old. I think she can stay home alone if I need to. I'm going to start looking, and the job seemed like a perfect fit because I get summers off, so if I want to take vacations, I don't have to take PTO.
So after April 15th, You can just ride out.
Well, there's a few things that have to be done afterwards, but yeah, and then it's part-time during the off season when I start recruiting volunteers through September and August and September. I mean, backwards.
Yeah. September, October.
Yeah. And I get to make my own hours, work whenever I want. I can do most of the work from home through emails, and
sounds like freedom.
The pay is pretty decent compared to any job I ever had in Kansas. And it was just, I was like, this is a dream come true. I had a heart attack when they offered me the job. When they called and offered it to me, I was like, is this a joke? Are you serious? Because in Kansas, the job market was so bad.
Yeah.
I was applying for jobs that were $12.50 an hour that were human services assistants degree. And I had a bachelor's degree in human services.
Wow.
And was being asked if I was getting a master's degree because the market was that flooded.
Wow.
To being turned down for assistant positions, to come out here to Virginia and be offered basically a director position.
Blessing.
Yeah, it was. It's, I'm looking at this as I'm basically restarting this program because COVID almost killed it. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't have access to the internet. And that was one of the real problems the program had the past 2 years, is attempting to go virtual.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the area don't have access to the internet. They don't have it. And one of the requirements in the program...
That's pretty wild, too. People in Montgomery County are struggling to get high-speed, good connectivity on the internet. That's wild. I understand, places like Floyd, but even Floyd has been given grants. In the most remote areas, they have higher speed internet than some people in Montgomery County.
Well, and Chantel, I don't want to be bad. Yeah. They charge a lot. We have a house. We bought a house this summer in Christiansburg, and it's on the outer parts. And I think we're paying $120 a month to get 100 megabytes speeds.
Yeah.
And so it was a real barrier, because one of the things we have to do is we have to take their IDs, and we have to physically look at a person's ID next to their face to make sure that the person filing the taxes has authorization to.
Yeah.
And so when they went virtual, well, that meant if they didn't have Zoom or the internet, they couldn't do that, and it put a real hurdle in the virtual process. And so I had to redo the whole program. I was thinking, well, I have senior volunteers that don't want to go out because of COVID. That's the majority of the volunteers for the program are seniors. And so I said, well, there's 2 universities nearby me, and both of them required all of their students to get vaccinated. And so I reached out to the Davis College of Business and Radford University to see if they would offer us a site. And I almost had a heart attack when the dean was gung-ho about it. He saw it as a win-win for the community, for his students to have an internship and they don't have to go far. And they've given us an office that has a receptionist desk, a lobby, 3 individual offices, and a conference room.
Wow, it sounds like the blessings, the door blessings just keep opening.
They do, and they fast-tracked getting credits in for the college students for them to, if they work 40 hours for the program, they get 1 hour of credits. 80, they get 2 hours, and for 3 hours.
So they get college credit toward their degree for that? Nice.
For volunteering with the program.
Wow.
And we're working on expanding that. So I had to take a situation. How do I get volunteers? The seniors don't really want to do in person, but I have to do in person because there's too many hurdles in the way for people to do virtual. And so I was like, well, there's 3 colleges here.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, they're clients as well, because there's 30,000 students in this area, and every single one of them qualify for the program. And that's part of our re-education campaign I plan to try to run the past few years, is letting the students know that just because your parents claimed you as a dependent on your taxes does not mean you can't file taxes. If you paid taxes, it's not going to be as much as it would be if you weren't claimed, but you're still looking at getting a couple $100.
Yeah.
And if they can just come on campus,
they're walking by the office anyway,
yeah.
convenient, especially if it's free, it's not free month. See, I've always had a problem with the celebration of getting your tax return should not be a celebration.
Yeah.
You should be angry every time you get $1 back from the government, because that means you overpaid the government in an interest-free way. And the government's never going to give you an interest-free loan. So like I want to make sure that people understand that when you get that return, don't it's not a celebration type thing. Like you just gave your money away in access and you're just getting back your own money. So like I like talking about that stuff too, because not a lot of people are programmed
but not
away.
necessarily for the low income people. So most of them are getting back more than they paid in.
Gotcha.
So not necessarily for
well, not college kids though.
Yeah.
But you know, as far as like people that actually go out and work every day, you know, if you've gone in and I mean, the people on disability and people getting government assistance, they don't even have to file returns most of the time, do they?
If they have a W-2, yes, they do. Because that's in order to qualify for those programs for SNAP and other things like that, it's based on your income. And so you have to register your income amounts with the IRS in order to get those
So you
returns.
have to prove you make less than $16,000 a year or whatever it is.
You can't just say I make $16,000.
Right.
I mean, when I worked for the low-income energy assistance program, we had to verify their rent costs, who was on their lease. We had to verify their electric bills. There was a lot of steps involved before we were ever able to pay anybody out any money.
Right. All right. I hope you're okay with this, but I want to kind of backtrack a little bit and hear your New River Valley story. Like, how'd you go from, what'd you say, Kansas?
Uh-huh.
How'd you come from Kansas to Christiansburg, Virginia, or, you know, in the New River Valley? Like, how did your life lead you here?
My husband took a job up here.
Okay.
And they said, you got 2 weeks, get up here.
Gotcha.
And we had a house in Kansas, and so I stayed back for about 3 or 4 months while he came up here. So
it's just interesting and compelling to me how people end up here, you know, in every way. I just like those stories of like, hey, you know, we came from this place, we got a job here, we fell in love here, we made a life here. So that's interesting to me.
Oh yeah, I've never lived anywhere besides Kansas. This is the first place I've ever, and so it's been interesting. There's a lot of things that are different that I didn't expect to be different.
Right.
Food, Mexican food. Oh my gosh,
right.
It's not the same. I want my cheese. I have to beg people for my nacho cheese on my tacos.
Right on. Well, you know, let's say someone comes across this podcast and they're like interested in like what you have to offer. How do they find you? Like what, you know, what do they have to do to get you to work with them?
So this year we've got 2 offices. We've got one in Pulaski, and it's going to be open from 10 to 4 Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And the one at Bradford University in the Davis College of Business, Suite 240, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 7. And all they need to do is they need to come in, and there's a bunch of stuff they need to bring with them. They need to bring IDs for all adults that are going to be on return. If your child is 18 and you're still returning them, they still need their IDs. Social security cards for everybody involved. If they're foreign, they have to have their foreign status card or their international tax identification number. You know, then the basic tax stuff, all their W-2s, if they have any investments, retirement funds, Social Security. The big thing this year that's extra is they need to know how much money they receive from the stimulus, and they need that letter from the IRS if they receive the advance tax credit. And that says how much it is. And the reason that we're requiring that is because if you didn't receive it, you can still get it. And we can't have people coming in saying, oh, I didn't receive it, and then we submit to the IRS that they didn't receive it, and then they're going to get audited, and so does the program get audited for not double checking it. So, and then, you know, daycare costs, basic things that they come in, they'll fill out this intake form, and it's about 4 pages, and we're going to ask you a gazillion questions. Did you get married this year? Did you get divorced this year? Are you widowed? And that affects taxes for 2 years. So if they were widowed a year or 2 from then, that matters. And so this form is how we make sure we're sending it to the IRS, and we have all the forms we need before we even start filling out the return. And so this is kind of the bread and butter of the entire program of how we help people who are not IRS certified tax accountants do returns accurately. I think the whole program last year across the United States had like a 96% accuracy rate. And part of that program is that after we do this and somebody does your taxes, another volunteer has to double check it, check the numbers and all the W-2s before we submit it to the IRS. The interesting fact is the number one reason for a reject that we see is that parents who are divorced trying to run to the IRS to file for their kids first. And the other parent has already filed first, and so the kids' social security numbers are already in the system. And so the IRS says, nope, they've already filed, and they reject it.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a vast, but they have all kinds of stuff in place to help if you get audited. They have this group called the Taxpayer Advocacy Services, and they're specifically a tax law group that helps people who can't hire lawyers fight the IRS if they are audited. So we have everything in line that you could need. We also,
so you're a resource center too?
Yes. And I'm thinking about expanding as well. I'm in beginning talks with the social work department at Redford University about them bringing in interns specifically to handle the interview process next year. And if once I get that in place, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with my program.
Sounds like a perfect partnership.
I could have applications there for SNAP. I could have if I can dream it, I can have it.
Yeah.
And the more people I have, the more I can do. And so that's really the progression, and we'll see where it goes in the next couple of years.
Who's your ideal volunteer, and what's the incentive to volunteer for this program? Outline that, so people that hear this, like, oh, I'm kind of interested in that, and, what would be a good fit for you right now?
My ideal volunteer are seniors, and the reason for that is they're repeat volunteers, and they come back every year, and there's less training that's involved. There's volunteer retention. I don't have to do as much work to recruit new volunteers, and the IRS has special programs in place for people who have worked with us for more than years. They have awards and certifications. If you've been with the program for 10 years or 20 years, they have special recognitions programs for it. Also, what's interesting is if you are a tax accountant and you have a license, you can get continuing education credits that are required for your license each year by working with VITA. Gotcha. So anybody who works for H&R Block, any of them, if they have a tax license and they want to help with VITA on the side, they're also fulfilling their requirements for their continuing eds for their license.
Gotcha. I didn't realize they had to do the same things we have to do as real estate people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have to stay up on tax law.
Right.
And part of the VITA process updates them on the tax law changes, and so it counts as the education that they need for the new year. I have one this year, and he's so excited.
Right on. I mean, I think that you probably have to – it'd probably be hard to do without volunteers. I mean, how many volunteers do you have currently?
8.
Wow.
And that doesn't seem like a lot.
But it does seem like a lot, but because, like, what's the incentive other than if they are just trying to get back to their community and then, incentive to renew their license?
I have one guy, Gil, that's just obsessed with taxes. He just likes doing people's taxes. I don't know if he's just nosy or if
the wildest thing ever.
He loves it. He talks about it all year. He knows everything he needs to know. He's my guy out in Pulaski, and he's been doing people's taxes in Pulaski, I think, out there for 6 years. And he knows everybody in the community. He knows everybody that comes in. And I'm going to be working with him this year so I can get a better basis on the taxes.
Yeah.
And I'll be out there every hour he is and working with him. So
that's cool.
And then we've got this lady, Diane. She does taxes for both TaxAid and the AARP and for VITA. And she's involved with both sides of the picture, and she's been helping me this year. She helped me when I went to the students when I was only about a month or two into the program and I didn't know very much. She helped me pitch to the students. She's helped me with taking my tax test for the first time this year. But another cool thing we've done this year is a lot of people have been complaining about how it's kind of like, here, study, here, take your book, take the test, study. Here you go. You have at it. And I looked at this book and I said, I really got to read through and memorize all this. But I've partnered with this group out of Florida called the Florida Prosperity Partnership, or the FPP Coalition. In Florida, for the VITA program, they have a standardized training program that everybody who volunteers in the state has to go through. And they are now branching out to offering that training services to other places in the country. And they're charging only $25 a volunteer for 4 3-hour training sessions. And when they're done, they're certified. They go through all the new tax law updates. They go through how to take the test, how to use TaxSlayer, it's absolutely fantastic. I ran 3 volunteers through it this year. They all passed.
Wow.
And the one who opted out of it, did not pass the first time they took it. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that because now I can say, well, you're not on your own.
We've got results of success through people that went through this. Yeah.
So it's and it's less hours for me to do and saving the community more money because if I was facilitating the training, you're doing it at my pay rate for 12 hours versus $25. And so it's also saving the program money in the long run. I'd have to get to having like 20 people running through the program for it to cost more than me doing the training.
Right.
So it's fantastic. I'm excited. It's one less thing off. I feel like I'm being too proficient here because I've now got my volunteers auto recruiting through Radford University through the college, and then I've got my training done. And the more efficient I make the program, the less hours I'm making for myself. So eventually, it might be I don't have any hours till February if I keep I keep this up.
Do you have any kind of social media presence other than just your personal profile, like that people can come and find and schedule appointments and things like that?
So I've decided to step away from appointments this year because I didn't quite know how many volunteers I was going to have, and it's really a lot more work. It's more time I have to bill because taking individual calls, running a scheduling book, getting that scheduling book out to the employee, it's actually a lot of time that's involved with taking those calls and maintaining the schedule. And I felt that it was a waste of resources when we can just do walk-ins. And if we get over flooded, we can simply tell people, well, we're going to take all your documents. We're going to do your intake, get everything signed. And then you can leave and we'll do your taxes. We'll get it all done. And we'll call you to come back up here. And you can come back up here next week, or you can come back up here on Thursday and pick them up. And so I felt that scheduling appointments when we have that option of just asking them to come back, it kind of seems like a waste of resources.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
But if I'm proven wrong, one of my volunteers is adamant that I need appointments. And if, I have no problems with changing that next year if it ends up to be the case.
Yeah. It's always just a A/B test, just whatever. I mean, you go with your gut. Typically, I built my business on just running with what I thought was right here, and so I mean, as long as people know where you're located and that the services you provide and that you're a resource, that's all. You just need to keep pushing that, and maybe this will help get awareness, and people will be more inclined to message you or come by and walk through and see what you got.
I also think that good volunteers might be people who think they're underemployed, that know that they're smarter, like they didn't go to college, but they know they can do office work really well and that they think they can do it, but they don't have the resume to justify it. Because I'm offering anybody who volunteers with us letters of recommendation for scholarships, letters of recommendation for employment, scholarship letters, like if you want to do that, or to college, as well as a nice write-up on your LinkedIn page if you've got one.
Yeah.
There's lots of extra things I can give people.
Other than income.
Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily a full commitment, because like if you were just working at the Radford site 5 hours a week, that's not too much of a commitment if you really think of it, but to me it is.
Yeah.
But for some people, that's not. Yeah. And so that's another pushing point that I'm kind of trying to help the people who think that they need a resume booster.
Right on. I think that's pretty cool. I think this subject to me is only just necessary, but I like the fact there are people out there that want to help, because it is such a important thing. I know, building a business that I tried to build and having to do my own withholdings and things like that, I've been trapped up with taxes. I've been behind on taxes. I have to pay quarterly, and I've made so much over the last 5 years that in 2018, I didn't do what I should have properly done, and I'm still paying the price for that. So like having good tax strategies, having good resources, having people that know what to do and that can hold you accountable, or at least try to guide you in the right direction. I've been looking for a money mentor for a while.
I might have somebody to send your way. I'm not going to say it on air.
well, do that, because I am looking I need somebody that's made their millions and can kind of lift me up. Like in my life, I've had some people kind of pull me up, and I've reached back down and tried to pull other people up in like the real estate world. But in the money world, I need that hand up. My ambition is to get to a different type of level for this area, and I would love to talk to those people and have resources to people that know the tax code and know tax strategies and whatnot. So, maybe we can, stay connected and just talk about what and I just need knowledge, on like where to.
And talking about knowledge, that's one of the few things we're expanding. Is I reached out to the Consumer Finance Bureau, and they have all kinds of free materials. Mm-hmm. And I got booklets on elder abuse and tax fraud, how to suspect it, books for seniors to read to know how to find email scams and know what's tax scams, how the IRS really contacts you, what type of IRS scams there have been in the past, and how to avoid them. And I've got booklets for all these, and I plan on handing them out.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the VITA programs across the country also offer financial counseling. And like I had one girl that I knew that used VITA in Kansas, and what they advised her to do is she had money problems throughout the year, but she got about a $3,600 refund. What they told her to do was to take the full amount of her refund, put it in a separate bank account, and set that to auto withdrawal for her rent. And that would cover her rent costs for the next 8 months.
Yeah.
And so rent for the next 8 months wouldn't be an issue, which freed up more money monthly rather than taking that tax refund and spending it all to go, oh, I need a new laptop, I need a new this, I need a new that.
Yeah.
Well, as you save money through the months, if you do that every year, you're only paying rent about 3 or 4 months a year.
Yeah.
And so there are certain strategies and things you can do in place. And eventually we might get back into it. One of my volunteers right now is going to school. He's going back to school for the third time to get a financial counseling degree. And he's really into volunteering with VITA. And so I might be talking with him about putting some stuff together for the years to come for financial counseling.
I would
guidance.
definitely be interested in talking with anybody in the money, have had major success helping people that have had major success. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm interested in. So, but hey, I mean, I think unless you got a little bit more, I mean, I think that's a good show. I think unless you got something else we didn't touch on.
Let's see. Well, there's a couple shout outs, I guess.
Yep,
I'd like
shout
to
them
do.
out.
I've recently joined the RSVP. I'm on the advisory council for them, and I feel like a sham being on the advisory council for the senior, I think it's retired senior volunteer program.
Yeah.
And the whole point of their program is they take seniors and help couple them with the right volunteer opportunities for them. And they're taking me on board, and they've been mentoring me. They've been helping me with ideas for budgets. They've been helping me with, I'm joined their marketing team, and they're going to let me watch what they do and how they do it to help me do these things. Yeah. And they've been a help so far. There's Carolyn Sephora she runs a grant program for the state called, why did I just blank on that? It's the Virginia Cash Campaign. They're where part of our grant funding comes. And unlike our federal state grant force where they just send you the grant money and say, okay, have at it, she's one-on-one. We have bi-monthly meetings, and she gets updates on what we're doing and gives us advice. She gives us updates and ideas, and she's been absolutely fantastic. And I also have a contact at the IRS. That's my specific person with the IRS, and Beth Gill, and she takes my phone call, and I'm having a panic attack. I had a problem earlier this season in which I didn't think I was even going to have a site because Radford University was taking so long to respond. I didn't know what to do. I was scrambling, and she talked me off the ledge. And that's not something she should need to do or has to do.
Yeah.
And so it's been weird. Like, I'm a one-man show when it comes to running this program, but I have been having, between my boss at New River Community Action, Jonathan, he's been fantastic as well, Carolyn, and my IRS contact, it's been this weird security network that's helped me learn as fast as I can. I mean, I went from knowing nothing about this program in September to, being able to host a podcast without me being able to look at any notes about the whole program in just a few months. And
that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
And so I know that they're all fantastic, and I know that I think my boss might be interested in coming on here too. New River Community Action has a lot of programs, and I'm sure that they would be more than interested in bringing on some more of their programs.
Hey, we're all about bringing awareness to opportunities in this location, so bring them on. Like, tell them to message me. I appreciate you pursuing us, and like following up and being persistent to get on here. We wish more people, would do the things that you did.
Well, I really think that this is necessary because I was looking at my choices for advertising, and our Facebook group only has 40 people following it, and it's because it's a VITA at NRCAA.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I can't really advertise there. Then my next option is newspapers, and just to get 2 ads about this big was going to cost $185.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, who really reads the newspaper, and how many people is that actually going to reach?
Yep.
And so I'm like, well, I need some kind of video, and Twitch isn't going to work, and I don't know anything about TikTok. I'm just a little too old. Yeah. And I don't think Instagram would work for taxes. And so I've done a few podcasts before, and I was like, that's where I got to go. And I saw you in the community watch group, and I was like, yes, that's what I need.
Hey, honestly, don't beat yourself up. TikTok's aging up really quick. A lot of attention's there. I know I'm spending a lot of time there. I'm almost 40. So, I mean, I just turned 39 a couple of days ago. So, like, I think us salespeople have to go where the attention is. No matter what, and that's what we are.
I don't know how you make taxes exciting, though.
It might not be, but I know tax people are on there. Curtis Ray, like, there's all kinds of financial stuff going on down TikTok.
Well, I have to look at media as who my target audience is, and my target audience are seniors, and I think that they're more likely to open up a podcast than they are to open up TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's probably searching for stuff on YouTube. YouTube content is going to be from 18 to 65. Probably, I mean, it could age down younger, but this type of content is probably 18 to 65. And then, I think Facebook is still, everybody's jumping on Facebook at least once a day, probably still. So, but yeah, I mean, I think as time goes by, we just got to go where the crowds are, and I think it's undeniable that a lot of people are spending a lot of time on TikTok.
Well, I think we can expand this program, and that we need to, because I was looking up before we left that, like, the median income for Radford was about $36,000, and the median income for Christiansburg was between 45 and 63.
Yeah.
And for Pulaski, it was sitting right at about 45. That tells me that almost half the population for all of New River Valley qualifies to use our program.
Yeah.
And that's what, like 50 to 100,000 people?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's 100,000 people just in Montgomery County, and if you're saying half of them are under the threshold,
But before I can branch out that far, I need more volunteers.
Of course, you can only scale with people.
And so I have all the ideas to get the people in, but it's the volunteer recruitment. And so I'm looking at sources. I'm hoping maybe to put together a scholarship fund eventually so that I can retain more students. we're going to see what we can do, but hopefully this will help with the volunteer recruitment. And I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's something most people don't do. It's a way to get out of the house and help with the community, but at the same time, you're learning a skill you can use yourself that benefits you. So it's not like just going in, not that there's anything wrong with going and canning food and putting them in boxes at a shelter. That's 100% needed. But if you're an intellectual and you want that intellectual challenge when you're older, now that you're not working, we're the perfect place for some of those volunteers that are older.
Awesome. Well, I hope this helps you. I hope we're valuable to you. You know, I know Weston, he'll shoot you the whole show. You can clip it out how you like. We'll clip out the moments we like, and we'll post those for you. And if I could ever be of value to you guys, just keep in touch and tell your boss to hit me up, and we'll do whatever we can for you.
I think one thing I could need is I'm hoping to make a video of a bunch of the people that come in and use the service and get like short, like 3 or 4 second videos of them saying wow they like VITA, and maybe putting together like a 2 or 3 minute promo. I don't know how to video edit. I know nothing about it. And that's what I'll be looking for probably at the end of the season.
We're trying to come up with some sort of list of services we could provide the community within this. You know, my staff and Weston trying to scale something out that can actually bring us income. You know, like we're doing this because we love it, but at the end of the day, you know, this needs to start generating revenue and stand on its own eventually.
Yes.
You know, for us to keep doing it, you know, even though we have the passion to do it. So I do need to find ways for income opportunities. So maybe we can be valuable there for you and find somebody, because I know we know the distribution strategy. I know we're connected, and he's looking at things every single day to try to help this grow. So I think if we can do that, we can replicate for almost anybody. So we'll just stay in contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. And, you know, I don't mind coming on for a short clip each year for updates on what's new with taxes, or we'll get it figured out.
Let's stay connected. All right. Well, hey, thank you for being on. Thank you for watching.
It.
Yeah. Hey, if you need anything from us, you know, comment down below, or you know, you can find you on Facebook.
I will be at all the sites just about every minute that they're open, so I will see there. And if you have any specific questions that you need beyond this podcast, you can call me at 540-320-3217.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on any other platform, run over to YouTube, subscribe. We need 1,000 subscribers, and we're trying to get that done as soon as possible. So, you know, I know I've got 4,000 plus friends on Facebook. I've got, you know, 400 followers on TikTok. Go to YouTube and subscribe to this channel, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.